Have you ever wished that you could live longer, say a couple more decades? To many, the idea of an extended life is without a doubt a promising concept. I mean, what's the worst that could happen if humanity had the technology to delay aging and essentially death? Today, I want to talk about why this idea might not be so positive and why you should be worried and pessimistic about anti-aging technology. As of 2021, our population is sitting at 7.9 billion people. One could even argue that the world is overpopulated, and in the future, there aren't going to be enough resources to sustain such big numbers. If people were to stop their aging and live longer, we would be putting an even bigger strain on already declining resources, causing humanity to struggle to survive. This opposes John Stuart Mill's utilitarianism concept, since putting a strain on our resources would most definitely not cause the greatest amount of happiness for the greatest amount of people. Extending the lives of people with anti-aging technology would not only cause physical harm to both Earth and the people through a shortness of resources, important resources, like water, food, shelter, and clean air, but it would also cause internal harm in challenging the world's morality. To further elaborate, we face the moral problem of whether anti-aging technology is good or bad. Although this tech is not really in action, it is still an emerging concept, and its goodness can be weighed using Mill's definition of utilitarianism. His definition is how an action, or in this case technology, is right in proportion as it tends to promote happiness and wrong as it tends to produce the reverse of happiness. If you think about it, anti-aging tech could essentially cause great happiness. People would be live longer and live healthier, and in this sense, this tech would cause the greatest amount of happiness for a very large amount of people, considering the world population would be huge. However, this same concept can be used to explain how the cons outweigh the pros in the long run. Once the population gets so big that resources are strained to the point of no return, one can't help but think about how problems will be resolved in a moral way. Ask yourself, how are governments and officials going to decide who is more important and worth spending resources on? How are we going to justify the importance between the younger generations or the older generations? With that, once aging technology is available to the public, what's going to happen when people can't afford it? Questions like these, which would depend a lot on the world's morality, are some of the many that would potentially arise from the use of this technology. With the way that contemporary society is running and how there are so many socioeconomic problems, why shouldn't we think that anti-aging technology is morally wrong and be worried or pessimistic about how it could affect the general population? The idea of such technology causing a struggle in our world seems like something off of a movie, but this technology is so close to becoming our reality, so we as a whole should start to think about how this might affect us and how we could avoid potential moral problems that we could face as a whole population in the future.
Created using Powtoon.